okay, there's two things called depersonalisation and derealisation. So if you have undergone or had been intimate with someone who undergone intense abuse, then one of the results, one of the phenomena that both of you may feel is depersonalization, which kind of means kind of like a person doesn't know who they are, and or doesn't feel like they are themselves. Okay, that can also be the case. And derealization, which kind of means like nothing seems real, or you're not sure what is real, and that's like a result of the trauma. So this is to anyone out there that has been in those situations and have no idea what that dumbfuckery is. So you'll have this information accessible to you independent of peterings, basically, okay? Because when you seek help for these things, you enter another petering. And I want that information to be accessible so people can actually recover. So that can also be like flashes of like color or like weird things that just happen. And that's okay to just like allow that to be, because that could come up, especially if you have like an orgasm or something like that, even if it was willing consent, even if like it was or wasn't or whatnot, then those things can happen. And now this basically this energy moving around you. Okay, so even if you had like actual consensual like sexual encounter with a partner or something like that, and things can come up, okay, and that can be flashbacks, that can be derealization, that can be a depersonalization, and you want to be grounding yourself in whichever way you have like available to you. So whether it's bare feet on the soil, getting into your body, whether you need your own space or you need to be held in that situation. That depends for every person. You got to get to know yourself, like what helps you, and you got to be allowed to do that. Things with temperature, okay, so sometimes there are people that blow a fan in their own faces and that helps them. So sensual, to go back to your senses. Some people use like mathematical things, so computation, and the issue is basically to get your senses, either to get your sense to the frontal cortex, so you get out of the amygdala, okay, so you should get into the frontal cortex and you begin to focus on what's in front of you. And you can, I don't know, count the number of blue things in your room or something like that. It can get you back to the center. Another way that you can use is essential oils, and yeah, I happen to have eucalyptus with me, but essential oils are very good at getting you back to your senses. Okay, when I studied aromatherapy, I wasn't working with people in trauma, and because I know that to cure from these things, like when you seek like healing from suspicion of having like childhood abuse or sexual abuse or whatnot, or something that could cause you dissociation, you're immediately at the risk of entering another petering because they try to keep you within the cult. So I want that information to be available to you for free. But it's the for free part is not even like the point. It's just like so that you don't have, so that you can do it yourself, so you don't have to go to another petering. Okay, that's what I'm saying. In order to heal and recover, because people would look for recovery, and then the same person that you're supposed to be healing with is mkultra. So I want that to be available for you, stuff that you can do, okay, in yourself. Mint is excellent. Mint has worked for me when I was in between houses, and I remember that there was a person that had, but you always dilute them, okay? Just important to with like actual oil that is like olive oil or coconut oil or something like that. And mint has worked for me. There was somebody who was sniffing cocaine and she couldn't smell in her nostril, so I was just putting my own mint, and she was like, "Surely that mint I can smell in my nostril." Like I couldn't smell, and then she tried to quit again. So this is Archangel Michael's oil, okay? So it's very important for you. Try not to use it before sleep, because then you could get you could get vivid dreams, and that can be unfortunately also vivid nightmares. So the way you work with vivid content or nightmares or stuff like that is you begin to either write or imagine or create or paint another scenario, okay, for the scenario that you do want, if you have access to that, or you set intention to have access to that. So such encounters can expose, okay, those things. So this is something you kind of like want to know about that, and going back to your senses. Something strong as essential oil can get you back to your senses, and kind of slowly but surely develop your safety ground, okay. Especially when you've been in situations, like if you are like influencer or politician or somebody, you've been in a situation where every time you try to have a safe ground, they're going to put another threat in. So it's just like for you to have as many tools as you can, that you can develop that inner safe space, so recovery is possible. More about that. First of all, knowing what it is, okay? Just knowing there's a name it to tame it thing that was, I don't remember the name of the psychiatrist that put it on, and that is basically you have something, let's say depersonalisation, so you kind of feel like you don't know who you are. You can switch. You feel like your own personality is kind of like shapeshifting, and that can be depersonalisation. So just like knowing that, hey, that's the personalization happening right now. You go to the frontal cortex, and that in itself tames it. Or this is derealisation, okay? If you have this sudden flashes or something like that. So there's like, this is derealisation. You name it, and basically that keeps you in the frontal cortex, so that mitigates the flowing of basically the trauma, okay? Basically the abuse that you've gone through, or that your partner has been going through, because you could be having intimate encounter or astral encounter, consensual or not, and then those things come up, okay? So you want to have like arsenal of tools that you can use whenever such thing happens, so you can ground yourself in your reality and begin to curate for this. So again, bare feet on the soil, you're gonna want to move towards a set intention to be in a housing situation where you can go in and out whenever you wish. So it's not claustrophobic, and it's also not agoraphobic, okay? So you're not having to confront a large crowd of people every day or something like that. And create for this housing situation for people if you are in position to do so. Set intention to do that, and holding that space for myself and for you. And that can be especially if you move your body around. And one of the things that we do is to regain movement. And we know that after something like that happened, then we move the body around, and then things begin to be purged, especially if you've been using like cineols or essential oils and stuff like that. Then we go for the sesquiterpenes, and that would be like the patchoulis, the vetivers, the stuff that would ground you and begin to change for your cellular memory, okay? But again, you want to go slowly with that. Like cistus is a very balanced oil, but it's going to make you purge things as well. So the minute you're being sexual, either with yourself or another person, that's a core energy movement, okay? Especially if you're working with the core, right? And that it doesn't matter what part of the equation you are. That's the thing, it's gonna balance you out. And this is also, for to ground your energy. So you want to have that. I like using snowflake obsidian whenever available. So snowflake obsidian is a great one, but it's also going to make you purge, okay? The minute you begin to move your core, okay, what is your hips, your legs, your thighs, okay, you basically, not just like an orgasm, it's like you may feel a little bit of release as energy moving in the body, then you can have some of those derealisation and depersonalisation. It's basically something's beginning to be released from your core, and that's the patterns of the abuse and the patterns of mkultra as well, because it's basically the patterns of sexual abuse. I mean, that's the fact, okay? And then you begin to release those. So your body's going to want to move. Your body's going to want to be liberated, be free. And then again, another purge is happening, another purge is happening. And it's about that liberation, it's that inner liberation. But it's also bringing up, okay, for those abuse, for those flashes, for those things that used to keep you from moving, especially if you undergone a lot of phases to try to keep you toned down so you wouldn't be able to recover. And so I'm just putting it out there for you. And this is where it's not about, going to a psychologist, going to a psychiatrist, going to hospitalization or all these things, especially not if you have been through the mkultra situation, because that's the juncture where they're going to try and get you. So I want that information to be available for you so you can practice it in yourself. So that is very, very important, because anything that they're going to prescribe to you is going to meant to keep you down, and any place that they're going to put you in is also structured, the architectural structure to keep you down. Okay, that's what we're changing in Masonry. Okay, that's what's up. That's what we're scheduled to do with Pluto and Aquarius. So if you're in the circle of people who tend to that right now, or what do we do about that? And those are the stuff that we do about that, independently of like having a psychologist or having a psychiatrist or even an aromatherapist, okay, next to you, because it's about sovereignty. And the whole point is that your sovereignty was taken away from you, and now you're learning to reconnect with your essence, with your core, to liberate your core, and to kind of like to do it yourself for yourself, okay? So when you come into connections, you're not susceptible to abuse as much, and you regain your power, you regain your essence, so you can create healthy connections with yourself, and create healthy well-being connection within you and outside of you, whether sexually or not. Okay, and that's what's on, and that moves the energy around, that moves the wealth around, that moves many things around, and also, understand that you have your entire psyche, your entire being, whoever you are, wherever you are, within the cults, outside the cults, within the Peter rings, outside of it, you've been manifesting recovery, okay? And that's what's happening. You've been manifesting recovery, very powerfully so, and this is what is manifesting right now, not under occult control, but within you, sovereign, that you can reconnect with yourself, okay? And not be dependent on another place that's going to disclose your secret and turn them against you, or that's going to try to control you. And it's like all this weird dumb fuckery stuff that the cult does, so that everybody has their own core and their own center, that they're growing and developing, and they can move from that core, okay? So yeah, that's basically that's a part of recovery. And I know a lot of people are, silenced, or sometimes you can't speak because you just can't speak, and that's okay. And that's why when I can speak, I can put these videos out there, to be available for people who needed that, regardless, again, with your gender, where you are, what that is like. That's just relevant stuff that occurring, and as I'm curating and healing myself, I'm sharing that, with you.